Hello, Saraceno Braves. This is Mrs. Corey. As you can see, today we're working on the distributive property. Now, this slideshow is by Ms. Nunez, but I added some things and took some things away. So, we're working on the distributive property today. The standards are 7.EE.1. And so by the end of this lesson, you should be able to say, I can identify distributive property. I can define distributive property. I can use the distributive property to solve problems. So what is the distributive property? We've been working with properties operations like the commutative property and the associative property. Now we're working with the distributive property, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it before, so this is just a quick reminder. So what does it mean to distribute? Let's look in this picture. What are they doing? Looks like they're distributing the food or the drinks or something in boxes to the students, to the kids. When you distribute something, you hand it out. So if I have a problem like this of 6 times 4 plus 5, I'm going to distribute the 6 to the 4 and the 5. Then you multiply and add. And when you do your work today, you're going to show all the steps that you're going to do. You're going to show your work. So when they distribute the 6 times the 4 plus the 6 times the 5, then you'll show me the step where you're going to multiply. 6 times 4 is 24, and then 6 times 5 is 30. Then the final step, you're going to add those two add-ins together to get 54. So breaking it down. So we can use the distributive property to break down multiplication facts or numbers that you may not remember off the top of your head how to multiply. So here's a simple example. So if you're multiplying 8 times 8, but you can't remember what the product is, so you would say 8 times 5 plus 3 and distribute the 8 to both the 5 and the 3. So 8 times 5 would give me 40 plus 8 times 3 gives me 24. So 40 plus 24 gives me 64. So these are the steps. On a piece of paper, write down these steps so you'll know how to do the problems that we're going to do at the end of this lesson. Step it out. Step 1, identify the number that you'll be distributing. Step 2, distribute the number to both add-ins and the parentheses. Step 3, solve for both parts with multiplication. And then step 4, you're going to add those add-ins together to get your final answer. Let's try it together. So our example is 5 times 3 plus 2. So what happens first? 5 is the number we're distributing. What two numbers am I distributing it to? Yes, the 3 and the 2. It should look like this. 5 times 3 plus 5 times 2. Now we'll do the multiplication first, and then we'll add. So 5 times 3 equals 15. 5 times 2 equals 10. 15 plus 10 equals 25. Now I know you're thinking, well, why don't we just add what's in the parentheses and multiply it times the number that's in the front? Well, we need to practice this first because on our next lesson, we're going to use distributive property, but we're going to add variables in next. So guess what? Now it's your turn to try. Here are 5 problems on a piece of paper or even in a Word doc. You can solve these 5 problems, but I need you to make sure you show me all the steps. So you're going to use the distributive property to solve these 5 problems. So like for the first one, you'll show me where the 7 is being distributed to both the 2 and the 8. So it'll be 7 times 2 plus 7 times 8. Then you're going to multiply and then add. Okay? So at any point, if you're still confused, go back and look at the slideshow again and try to figure out what step you're missing. But make sure you show me all the steps as you use the distributive property. So as usual, if you have any comments or issues or problems, post